we're having something that I've seen all over Pinterest called Hobo Packs, which are basically just foil dinner packs. And I'm not following any recipe exactly, but kind of taking the different things that I've seen different people put in the packs and what would work for us. So we're doing 4 packs for us. I've cut several cups of broccoli. This is 2 large heads, and I'm just laying them down in the bottom. We really like broccoli, so I'm stuffing these full. I just want them to kind of make a little plate almost. But I've seen some other people do potatoes. I've seen some with stuffing, all different things. Now, one thing I have noticed that's lacking in a lot of these recipes I've seen is they don't season their food. They'll put sauces and things in there, but nobody really seasons their food. And I'm not really okay with that. So I'm not doing too much because I want the ranch flavor to really come through, but I am adding some seasoned salt to both sides of this chicken. Next, we have some leftover bacon from breakfast this morning that we just crumbled up and put down in our mason jar. So I'm just going to break these up and put them with the chicken. Then we're going to add in a little bit of ranch. And lastly, we're going to top with some cheese. I'm just using up some slices of Colby Jack, again, because that's what I have. And there you go. I just kind of tint these up. I might have added a little bit too much broccoli because look, it's not really wanting to close. And that's really important for these meals, is that you close and make them like little steam packets. We're going to do the best we can, and in the next ones I'll do better on not adding so much broccoli. But I've got the oven preheating to 400. I'm going to finish making these packets, lay them all on a sheet pan, and put them in the oven for about 25 minutes until the chicken is cooked all the way through. While this is going, the kids are going to work on their dessert. They're making some Jello grapes. So we're going to get these done and in the oven, and I'll see y'all back in about a half hour. Alright y'all, so we're going to try out our candy grapes. So I've taken a little bit of each of these Jello mixes and put it down in some of the bags. We've washed some grapes, and instead of using the toothpicks and doing it that way, we're just going to roll a few in the bags and then put them out on the tray. We're going to taste test them and see how yummy they are. So they're all done. You see I opened them up just to let some of the steam out. With the foil, the cheese for most of them, it looks like I got it pretty close, so it's sticking to it. So that's sad. But we're going to use these as our little bowls and take them outside and have dinner out there tonight since it's not too hot. They smell really good. I'm going to let them cool off for just a minute, and we're going to do a taste test. Okay, so let's slice into this. So the chicken is really tender. Oh, it looks like I cut through the bottom of my foil. So be careful that you have something under it, because now the juices are going to start flowing over the pan. So as far as taste, not bad at all. I'm definitely glad I used the seasoned salt on my chicken breasts before I put them in. It definitely helped with the flavor. It was really good. I feel like this chicken breast got a little bit overcooked just because it kind of felt a little bit grainy, but maybe a few minutes less for that one. I went 25 minutes for all of them, so maybe 20-25 minutes. The broccoli was nice and tender. I don't really get the ranch flavoring in it, so I probably could have used more of that, and I always love cheese, so I could use some more cheese in the future. Probably would save the cheese until when we open up the packets and just let it melt over the top instead of being in the packet with it. Although I do love these little crunchy parts that you can peel away. So overall, a win-win. I think we would try this again, even try different vegetables and different flavor profiles. So I think it's a win. The grapes were delicious. We're still munching on those as well. So we're going to take all of our food, go outside, play with the chickens, and enjoy a night just out and about. So tonight we're having this yummy chicken stroganoff, and I'm going to show y'all how to make it. You could do this from start to finish on the stovetop and have dinner ready really quickly, or you can do like I'm going to do and start it stovetop and move to crockpot. I am using my Ninja Foodie today, so we'll be able to do it all in one because it does have that sear function. But if you don't have it, this is still very doable. Again, you just do it all on the stovetop or stovetop to slow cooker. So let's get started. So down in this bowl, I have a ½ cup of flour, and we're going to add our seasonings to this. This is the flour dredge that we're going to put on our chicken. So we're going to add a ½ teaspoon of pepper, a whole teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. We're just going to use our fork to mix this all around. So we're just dredging it in our flour, making sure we get it all around. And we're going to do this for each of the pieces. While we do this, we're heating up our oil so that we can sear these. So just maybe a teaspoon of olive oil down in the bottom of your pan, heating up. So our oil seems to be heating nicely. I'm going to add in our chicken breast and let them start searing. Now we want to sear these for just a few minutes on each side until they're golden brown. While these cook, we're going to clean up and chop our veggies. Now that our chicken pieces are nice and seared, I've turned the temperature down to a medium heat, and I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of butter. This is just 1 small onion diced up, and we just want to get this onion nice and soft and translucent. While these onions cook, you want to scrape the bottom, and they'll help pull up these little bits that are on the bottom from our chicken, and it'll help flavor our sauce even more. So you want those bits to come up and mix with your sauce. Okay, so these are starting to soften nicely. I'm going to add in our mushrooms. Now, if this seems like an excessive amount of mushrooms for y'all, that is okay. This is excessive. The original recipe calls for 8 ounces. I'm using 24 ounces because we really like mushrooms. They will cook down, but we use them as an extra source of nutrients and meatiness since we don't eat as much of a size portion of meat as most people do. So just going to saute these mushrooms in with the onions for a few minutes. While this goes, I'm also going to add in a tablespoon and a half of minced garlic to help flavor this up. And let's go ahead and add the rest of our seasoning. So we're going to add another ½ teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, or the W sauce, however you say it. And last in the seasoning department is 1 beef bouillon cube and 2 chicken bouillon cubes. If you don't use bouillon and you use chicken broth and beef broth, you can skip this part. We'll just keep mixing it all around and letting these mushrooms and everything continue to saute and those seasonings to work in. So our mushrooms are nice and soft, and they do have some more cooking to do, but at this point we can move forward. I'm adding in 3 cups of water. Now remember, if you're choosing to use chicken broth and beef broth instead of the bouillon, this is where you'll add your broths. And then we're just going to shimmy in our chicken breast. We want them down in this liquid and really absorbing those flavors. And this will cook on high for about 3 more hours. Chicken does tend to cook very quickly, so we'll keep an eye on it. But in that time, we'll get all the kitchen cleaned up, and right before it's finished, we will see if we need to thicken it or add anything extra to it seasoning wise. We'll also be serving this over some egg noodles, which we'll just make per the package directions. So I'll see y'all back in a couple of hours. Okay, so it's been 2.5 hours and our chicken it's cooked all the way through. So I'm adding in 8 ounces of sour cream. This will help give us our creaminess that we want. Now that we have that mixed around, I'm going to pull out a couple tablespoons of the juice and mix it in with a couple tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm going to turn this back up to the saute function on high so that it can come to a boil and bring all of this together and thicken. So we're going to pour it back in, give it a good stir, and then we'll be all ready. I do have some of these cool breadsticks that we found at I think Super One, but they're stuffed cheese breadsticks, and we're going to have that on the side with our egg noodles. Alright y'all, dinner's all done. Like we said before, we have tons of mushrooms because we tripled the mushrooms in this recipe compared to the original, but we really like mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms so much, you can definitely pare it down to the 8 ounces or even less. But this is a really scrumptious dish that gives you all those feels of you did something really, really hard when you didn't. And you could put it over any type of pasta, potatoes, add a vegetable or a side to it. This is just something easy that we went with today. So we hope you give it a try and let us know what you think. And now we're going to make our Hawaiian mac salad. So I like these little macaroni noodles just because they're something different and they hold the dressing really well. But I made our macaroni last night, drained it, and put it in the fridge to cool so that it's much easier to use today and we don't have to wait for that step to cool down. And now we're going to make our dressing and everything to go in it. Into our bowl, we need to add 2 cups of mayonnaise, whichever type of mayonnaise you like. Today we're using Blue Plate. I do tend to switch it up at times though, depending on what I can get a good deal on. But Blue Plate is one of our favorites. Next we're going to add in 2 cups of half and half, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, a half teaspoon of salt to start. Once we get it all mixed around, we'll probably add about a half teaspoon more, but it's easier to add to and impossible to take away. And also a half teaspoon of black pepper. And the same for the onion powder. I'm using granulated onion, so I'm going to start with a teaspoon of granulated onion. We're going to mix this all around and put this in the fridge until we get ready to pour it in. To our noodles, we're going to add in 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. And you really should use a liquid measuring cup because it does make a difference. However, mine are all dirty, so I'm going with it. So next we have our veggies that we need to add in. I need to wash all of these. So we need 5 green onions, about 1 cup's worth of grated carrot, and 2 stalks or 2 ribs of celery chopped up. So I'm going to wash and prep these and then we'll get those added in also. So now that we have all of our veggies down in here, we're just going to mix this all around. And I don't think I told y'all, but this is a pound of pasta that cooked, drained, and cooled. Now we're going to pour in our dressing and mix this all around. And once we get this all mixed around, we're going to cover it, put it back in the fridge, and let it set for a couple of hours. Now I'll keep coming back every hour or so and stirring it up, but we want all of those flavors to really get mixed in, soaked in, and just combined together. Alright, so our macaroni salad has been chilling for about 2 hours. I stirred it at the halfway point, and now we're about where we want to be. Gave it a taste test, and I'm going to add another half teaspoon of salt, and then see if we want any more onion powder or anything. We don't want to over season it, so we want to take it slow, even if that means we have to do multiple seasoning rounds. So the salt level tastes good now. I do think we still need a little bit more onion powder, so we're going to do another teaspoon. I thought that's all I was going to add, but I'm going to add another half teaspoon of pepper too, just to kind of liven it up a little bit. Other than that, I think we're there. We're going to put this back in the fridge until we're ready to eat. There we go, y'all. Yummy and easy macaroni salad.